Bring up the video zone. Greetings, Emperor.
Okay, what's the situation there? Did they find my fucking puppets?
They've located them, but have yet to return. I hope they heed my warnings regarding the puppets' hostile nature.
This would have gone a lot faster if you got off your asses to get them. Don't you think? Huh? Yeah.
Emperor Band, we needed to keep Deadwest busy so we could move forward with the final steps for returning home. His need for protecting his homeland has proven problematic for our plans.
And Troma's still in the dark?
They have no idea their power plant is exactly what we need to leave this wretched place. Once we harness that power for our transporter, this war will be a fading memory. But surely we don't have to sacrifice Tromaville for our sake. With time, I'm certain we can find a way for both of us to benefit from the transporter. We've been over this time and time again. There's only enough power for one successful jump.
I'm with Crawford and West on this, Mordred. We have to think about Full Moon's interest here. Right?
Yeah.
I understand.
Now before anyone transports anywhere, where the hell are my puppets?
Howdy there, partner. One cowboy to another. You mind setting this loose? Yep, it's just one of those days. I can't watch much more of this. It's not scary, it's just shit. Paper mache and painted laser rays, dumbass monsters made of clay. If you want to scream, come scream with me. Scream, soup, scream, soup. If you want to scream, come scream with me. Scream, soup, screaming soup. What the hell is this supposed to be? Action, romance, or sci-fi comedy? I just don't have fucking time for this shit. Bring on the blood and show me the tits. If you wanna scream, come scream with me. Scream, soup, screaming soup. If you wanna scream, come scream with me. Yuck! Nasty! Well, howdy there, Scream Freaks. As you may recall, we've fallen into the little wooden hands of Full Moon's Puppet Master dolls, and we're now their playthings. Sucks as all get out. Hey there, partner. Are you the leader of this posse? Emperor Band sent me to come get you. Hey, what are you... Stop that! Spirits of mating tribe, come to my aid. Show these bastards who the masters are, TP Mummy. Can't remember the last time I was in this tight of a jam, Scream Freaks. Who in their right mind would create such demented things as these splinters on legs? Well, let's find out with a review of a deeper look into their origins with Retro Puppet Master. The meat of this flashback to the puppet's golden days is Toulon taking a break running from Puppet Master 3 to explain a decapitated puppet the others find in his trunk. Probably seeking reassurance Toulon's leadership won't lead them to the same fate, Toulon starts yammering some long-winded story about how he met his wife Elsa, obtained the secret of life, and came to be chased by bigger threats than Nazis. With more backstory revealed than ever before, we get full disclosure regarding how exactly a wizard steals Sutek's best party trick thousands of years ago in Egypt and plays keep away from his mummy minions for more than a millennia. That is until Paris in 1902 when Sutek's men in black mummies bypass the wizard's supernatural radar with common leg breakers who a newly acquainted Elsa and Toulon rescue him from. For saving a sorcerer in sorts, the old wizard shares his stolen secrets of life with the young puppeteer and helps him preserve his favorite pauper who freezes to death on the front steps of his theater. Rather than allowing the frozen stuff the comfort of an afterlife, Toulon has shown how a magical ring and some hoodoo words can capture the poor guy's soul in a hunk of wood. Well, thanks, asshole. And it doesn't stop there. After the MIB mummies crash Toulon's theater in slow-mo and ripple his whole puppet crew to death before reaching the wizard, who prefers to ripple himself to the grave than be caught, Toulon moves faster than OCP doctors on a dead cop and resurrects every one of them as walking splinters. As if denying co-workers in Afterlife wasn't bad enough, Toulon further demonstrates his mastery over these guys when he gives them all new names like he's Optimus Prime.
Bumblebee, you look different.
Yeah! I just got totally rebuilt! I feel like a gold bug!
And that's who you'll be from now on, Bumblebee. Goldbug.
I was kind of thinking I could still be called Bumblebee.
Quiet, Goldbug.
So, the slow-mo mummies' magic meters go in the red, and they cut their celebration short as they start hunting Toulon, using Elsa as bait for drawing him out. Nothing says how much you'd like a girl you just met more than saving her from a bunch of killer mummies on a train, you know? I would play up the drama here as to whether or not Toulon can save Elsa or how long he can keep the magic away from his rightful owners, but we already know the answers to all that before even starting this flick. Clenching at the thought of this film's sours, the biggest one has got to be how Toulon's written. He's just not all that interesting to watch, and it's not the actor's fault because he's doing the best he can with what he's got to work with. Probably doesn't help his credibility any if I tell you he's the guy that played Mark from that awful fucking movie The Room.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
I have a problem with Lisa. She said that I hit her.
What? Well, did you?
No, it's not true. Don't even ask.
Regardless, Toulon is written incredibly flat with about as much character as a sprite saving a pixel princess. He loves Elsa, she's in danger, he rescues her. The end. Toulon needs some flaws or quirks that allow the audience to connect with him more and develop beyond a two-dimensional character. I want to see him struggling as a puppeteer so the magic has a little more impact on him with the possibility of free-moving puppets. Or how about simply showing him being torn over the power to manipulate people's lives and whether he should or not. Maybe be more reluctant to get involved with the wizard and his magic, but accepts the burden to save Elsa from Sutek's MIB mummies. I mean, Toulon is so vanilla bland, even his fight scenes resemble noodle-wrist wimps rehearsing stage combat. Have enough yet? Well, of course, we wouldn't have this problem if we had stuck with the origin story hinted at in Puppet Master 2. If you recall, Elsa and Toulon were already married and met the wizard in Cairo, who seek Toulon out after being impressed with his traveling puppet show. The wizard entices Toulon to learn the magic for personal gain, as well as supposedly keeping it away from Sutek a little while longer. So I wish the filmmakers hadn't gone fucking up the timeline again, but hey, maybe old man Toulon's just remembering all this wrong, or maybe his brain in part 2 was more worm food than gray matter, and his memories were all wrong in the flashback. He did think that chick was his wife reincarnated after all when she was right there with him, so that's not too big of a stretch, I wouldn't think. And we give up for how the damn magic works for bringing puppets to life at this point, because it seems to change every movie. Needles of brain-boiled serums, computer codes, electric chairs, cursed carvings, magic incantations, special rings. It's just all over the place and we don't care anymore. Putrid polecats. We clock some pissing time in this sucker, about a whopping 8 minutes matter of fact. We take our time carrying a body to the curb like yesterday's garbage, look for damsels in distress on a train, and spend almost 4 minutes on a slow-motion fight sequence. But thank Craven there's no bogus scares. Eager to dig into the sweets, you know it's the puppets and these antiques are all new. Following the bumsicle turned Pinhead .0, the rest of Toulon's Slaughter crew are unwillingly bound to their props and become the first ever Blade, 6-shooter, Tunneler, also known as Drill Sergeant, along with a couple of originals, Dr. Death and Cyclops. So we obviously know this ain't the same dweeb turned Blade from Part 3. Damn, that's pretty badass. But it's anyone's guess if these early incarnations of the same Tunneler and 6-shooter we've enjoyed in previous films. I mean, given the randomness of the magic, who says these two couldn't have gotten an upgrade over time? Especially when 6-shooter is the wizard brought back to life. With him as a puppet, you'd think he'd try to strike it out on his own or run the gang himself, given he's the one who's wielded the magic the longest, but maybe tiny pop guns for hands aren't the best for performing magic. I also gotta point out how impressive this sequel's production value is for a period piece. The sets look beautiful, the lighting is noteworthy, the score's on fire, and every actor's performance sells you on these historic characters. Especially the actress playing Elsa, who is written as a dynamic character seeking love and adventure despite her ambassador father's wishes. He's so against her being romantic with the puppeteer, he even has Toulon dragged to him in the cold just so he can toss him back out in his ass in the snow. Itching for the kill count, Retro Puppet Master stacks up 12 bodies, but 6 are reincarnated, so only 6 deaths occur in this film, courtesy of the MIB Mummy's death ripples. That's an average number of bodies for a horror flick, but still seems a little low, don't it? Well, let's go ahead and count the demise of these slow-mo mummies and kick it up another 3. You know, it makes absolutely no sense given they're already undead and not exactly decimated, but if the filmmakers want to say mummies' weaknesses are being stabbed retarded, falling chandeliers, and not having a ticket for the train, then so be it. And from the boob count we get... nothing? Again? What the fuck? We're being too artsy-fartsy for our own good now. We gotta fix this. Billy, let's nuke the ingredients of this flick and see what it rates. Three out of 5. Not great, but Far from bad. This is a well-made movie overall that's pretty to look at, but needs to jazz things up with more complex characters and energetic fight scenes. I recommend Retro Puppet Master for easily scared youngins needing a safe horror flick, the Hallmark Channel, and anyone who can relate to Grandpappy going off on tangents. Seriously, coming back to how the story started, the puppets have to remind Toulon the question was what happened to this dude.
What? You want to know what happened to Cyclops and the others? Well, my friends, that is another story, which I will tell you at another time.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's the story we asked for! I tell Toulon to go fuck himself for just now telling me I'm a target for some pissed off Egyptian god, and then give him a good fight before tossing me in the dark trunk with his highly praised wife he stuffed with leeches, but what do I know? I like Illids made of movies.
Stop! Stop it once, I say. My children, look at yourselves. What have you become?
What the hell is that thing? Baby booty's on a rattlesnake. It's Toulon. He looks freaky.
This place has tainted you all, reverting you to darker versions of yourself. Remember who you are, my children. Think back to all that we have been through.
Uh-oh, I feel a flashback coming on. Brace yourselves, Scream Freaks, as we take a trip down memory lane with Puppet Master The Legacy. The meat of this highlight reel special is a chick named McLean swapping favorite Puppet Master clips with a guy who's Peter all grown old from Puppet Master 3. McLean is after Toulon's secrets for creating the puppets, and after looking around the Bodega Bay Inn for a bit, she stumbles across Peter, who's been summoned to the puppet's aid as their newest master. While she plugs away Peter's kneecaps for Toulon's secrets, Peter buys himself some time, convincing her to listen to some recordings Toulon left him, which could offer more clues to his secrets. Mulling over the sours of this video scrapbook, I'm not going to be an asshole and bitch about this 80-minute movie only having about 4.5 minutes of new footage. From my understanding, this is more or less produced as a tribute to everyone who helped make the Puppet Master series a success over the years, as the blurb at the end suggests, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have much to offer fans, however, except some explanations for events that happen between movies that kind of make sense. While Peter talks about the puppets as a force of good from Puppet Master 3 through 5, McLean keeps bringing up how evil Toulon and the puppets were in parts 1 and 2, which is why she wants the secrets to know how to kill the puppets once and for all. She's so determined, she even admits to killing Rick from part 4 and 5 for Toulon's diary. Well, that's one heck of a bomb to drop. I've been wondering whatever happened to the laser tag champion since we spent so much time building him up as the new Puppet Master just to find the puppets in a sideshow in part 6. I guess Rick wasn't all he was cracked up to be, and the puppets fled back to the hotel after McLean killed him, summoning Toulon's last resort for a caretaker. I wonder how they even contacted Peter after all this time. Did Decapitron make a long-distance call with his little fingers? Speaking of which, here's something I don't think most fans think about. In the movies on tape pile Toulon leaves Peter to listen to, one of them is Toulon sharing a whole account of his fight with the puppets against Sutek in parts 4 and 5. We've assumed all these memoirs were recorded before Toulon's suicide, but he was dead and slipping down and out of reality as a face-shifting robot during that time. Are we to assume Toulon made these recordings recently as Decapitron? I don't know about you, but I think it's hilarious to think of a miniature Toulon recording his memoirs. This is one of the few times I think we can nix the pissing timer, given it can be argued both ways, whether or not we're wasting our time rewatching recycled clips. But if we're only focusing on the new material, then I absolutely clock a 0, and that goes double for the bogus scares. The sweets have pretty much been dominated by the puppets every review, but this time, I gotta give it to the return of Peter from Puppet Master 3. With less than 5 minutes of new story, the filmmakers are smart enough to bring in a past character which taps back into the Puppet Master storyline, throwing a bone to longtime fans to see what happened to him since leaving Berlin with Toulon. But while this seems like a touching moment with Peter becoming the next Puppet Master, things suddenly turn 180 as McLean tells him every puppet is basically a soul in eternal agony trapped in wood, wanting revenge on their master who's now Peter. So, despite the puppets chilling with him this whole time, and even saving them from McLean, gullible Peter acts like she knows their lives, spins around to suddenly face the puppets, and starts firing away. The end! Are you fucking kidding me? Were the puppets attacking Peter as he's sickly paranoid, or maybe Sutek's back with more minions? We'll never know. It just looks like Peter's shooting his friends, and then we cut straight to this message with Full Moon thanking its friends for all the great work. Only looking at the new footage, the Legacy stacks up a total of one body, which is McLean after being taken down by Peter and Pinhead. One's better than none, I always say. And unfortunately, we couldn't have McLean show off her other sets of guns for persuading Peter to give up Toulon's secrets, but hey, it's a best of film, so let's just replay our favorite groups from the series. Billy! Let's nuke these ingredients and see what they rate. Woo-wee! 2 out of 5. Now, before you fly off that recliner like an angry windmill, understand it's only so low because this film is mostly cliff notes with about a fraction of it dedicated to new material. In fact, if anyone new to the series sees this first, they'd rate it 3 out of 5. But for those of us who've been here since the beginning, you're going to find yourself fast-forwarding a lot. I'd recommend Puppet Master The Legacy to Halloween parties needing some non-stop killer action on a TV screen, fans of regifting, and those folk who enjoy it when sitcoms spend a whole episode recalling past episodes, but what do I know? I like illegitimate movies.
Never forget, we exorcised ourselves from Full Moon to be free of their war and tyranny over what and who we could be. We mustn't hurt these people, lest we sacrifice our very souls to this cursed world we unfortunately are stranded on.
Hey, that's my home you're sassing.
I only wish I knew where this bad influence is.
You guys done yet? When is it gonna be our time with these jackasses?
Playtime is over, Oopsie Daisy. We must release these prisoners.
Release them! They killed Jack Attack! We want the remains to build us a new playground with!
Please, we've been over this. I led our exodus for peace.
That's another thing. Who made you the leader?
You ungrateful tagalongs!
Looks like we got us some domestic violence brewing. Can't say I really want to stick around to see who wins, especially since I already saw the first round in. Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. The meat of this Yuletide tale is Toulon's dolls saving the world and Christmas from another group of Full Moon baddies, the Demonic Toys. For those with their vision full of sugar bum fairies, the Demonic Toys are these angle-biting minions of a demon whose big plan is to rape a woman he can then be reborn through and I guess take over the world or open a theme park, maybe try his first ice cream. I don't really know, because he never gets that far because someone's always blowing the rape whistle and stopping him, with Ghost Kids or even the Dollman, an action figure-sized alien cop who enforces no meaning no when the demon tries raping his Polly Pocket-sized girlfriend who was shrunk by aliens in another movie, Bad Channels. Anyway, you don't have to see any of those to get the gist of this mishmash of Full Moon properties. The hottie from Kingpin and the Weird Science TV series is Erica Sharp, a spoiled rich bitch whose toy-making daddy gave her whatever she wanted, even if it meant selling his soul to give her living toys, a la the Demonic Toys, Baby Oopsie Daisy, Jack Attack, and Grizzly Teddy. Now what in the world is her plaything? She strikes a deal with a Demonic Toys master who seems to have retired the whole rape plan in favor of using her toy company for making his Demonic Toys the hottest gift of the holiday season. When Christmas morning comes, the toys will sacrifice millions of innocent youngins in their pajamas and usher in his reign of terror over the world, but Erica's queen over some corner of it. And somewhere in the mix, for the sheer hell of it, the demon's got beef with the Toulon family and wants to wipe out the bloodline in the process. Problem is, and I'm guessing here, last Toulon family members, Andre's great-grandnephew Robert and his daughter, played by Corey Feldman in a hot tamale more than half his age, are protected by the puppets they found in a flea market in Paris with Andre's notes. When Erica sees how much more loyal the puppets are compared to her Demonic Toys, she renegotiates her crossroad deal to include Toulon and his secret, leaving the demon with the Toulon daughter to satisfy his vengeance. With Robert keen to this crazy scheme from the underworld, he makes it his holiday wish to stop the apocalypse, save Christmas, and get laid while handcuffed. Whoa! Like a one-horse open sleigh through Bizarro Land, the sovereigns in this film are Toulon's puppets? Blade, Pinhead, Six-Shooter, and Jester? Putrid, Polecast, look at them! This is like seeing those Fun School knockoff toys. Sure, you got the product and the blueprints, but you're not hitting the nail on the head, if you know what I mean. They look all plastic and their colors are off. Are those robot sound effects I hear? Now, I'll admit, I'm being a little nitpicky, but how about when they were burned up in a fight and given Robo-Action Go upgrades? Think I'm still being nitpicky?
They're like cooler than ever.
No! No, they're not! What's worse is they're barely in this movie. Seriously. Robert wakes them up, they fight off some of Sharp's goons, go back to sleep, and don't come back till the very end to fight the Demonic Toys as variants with jerk-off action. Toulon's the real star of their story as an uncertified dog doctor turned Wizard of Wood, and Corey Feldman holds on to as much screen time as he possibly can with his slow, gravelly deliveries.
My thirsty Katrinka doll. It's an original. Circa 1920, Czechoslovakian. It drinks and pees.
You know, I'm actually at a loss for how old this character is supposed to be. His hair's grayed and he runs like a man wearing Depends, but Corey's just so youthful in general and was only in his early 30s when filming this. And when you put him with this teeny bopper heartthrobber, the last thing you're feeling is a father-daughter vibe. They either needed a more mature actor for Toulon, a younger girl for the daughter, or rewrite these two as brother and sister, which I don't think would have hurt the movie any, and certainly not the Puppet Master timeline that's always in jeopardy with each movie. The most expected blow to the timeline is the way the formula works. Instead of brain stew every 50 years and all that nonsense, The process has come down to bringing chemicals to a rolling boil over an open fire, adding 2 drops of Toulon blood, which is now a must ingredient, sucking it up into a cookie dough gun and shooting it right up in these new nifty feeding ports in the back of the puppets' heads. But the greatest sin, however, is Robert completely butchering the timeline, saying his family's secret for bringing things to life began with an ancestor from the Renaissance named Jean-Paul Toulon, a famous alchemist and marionette maker. And it's this ancestor who put the Toulon's bloodline in debt to the Demonic Toys boss's top goon here, because he traded his soul for the secrets of alchemy, but skipped out on his end of the bargain after wandering into the Black Forest, where his soul became entangled with some oak tree the first puppets were carved from? What the fuck? I appreciate the writers adding to the Toulon lore and all, but it sounds like we're throwing the whole Egyptian thing out the window along with everything else that happened to Andre. You want me to ignore parts 4, 5, Retro, and Legacy? But let's not rock those jingle bells too hard, Scream Freaks. While we like to poke fun at Full Moon for being too lazy to rewatch their own work for continuity's sake, this time it falls on the Sci-Fi Channel. The Sci-Fi Channel managed to get their hands on the 2 properties from Full Moon and didn't waste any time getting this viewer-guaranteed program on the air. So in a sense, this is kind of like a big what-if story that Full Moon completely washes their hands of and doesn't officially consider part of the series. Well, if that's the case, then why are we wasting our time on this? With a movie full of misfit toys, living puppets, demons, and robots, it's no Christmas miracle the pissing timer didn't clock 1 second of wasted time in this Versus for TV. And as a bonus gift, no bogus scares either. So the sweets of this Christmas Eve adventure are the naughty kids, the demonic toys. Unlike the puppets, they're in the majority of the movie from the beginning to the bitter end. They're shooting commercials, torturing secretaries, hitching rides, kicking ass, slinging slurs, and have a bit of a leg up on their competition special effects wise because I thought they had a lot better puppeteering. Refusing to give stop motion animators work, Sci-Fi went the old-fashioned route and just waved their Puppet Master props around with periodic cable-controlled wiggles and relied a lot on camera tricks not seen by the untrained eye. So lifelike, it's scary, ain't it? I haven't seen action this intense since Rock'em Sock'em Robots or a little girl's ballerina music box. But then you look at baby Oopsie Daisy here, and his youngin' face looks pretty damn impressive. And speaking of impressive faces, we couldn't find any fault with Erica Sharps or her role in all this. While she can be a little much at times when her inner brat breaks through, she's a very solid and entertaining character who meets all the criteria for corporate villainous. Selfish, easy in the eyes, evil minions, and a playroom of doom where she dispenses employees in horrific ways like yesterday's Christmas gift. Oh, and speaking of which, turning to the kill count, this ginger child bout stacks up a total of 7 to 9 bodies. We've got Erica sacrificing 2 virgins to collect Call Hell, 6-Shooter and Pinhead keep up the puppet's reputation as horror icons, and her right-hand man has his mind blown by Jack Attack's impression of Macaulay Culkin. You could add the demonic toys to the pile after getting the stuffing kicked out of them by Toulon's dolls, but we all know that doesn't count. And holy shit, Jester's fighting? And he's beating Jack Attack? Not only that, but he even fights a goon stabbing and slashing and shit? Why, it's a Christmas miracle! After 8 movies, the little guys finally won a fight! Erica gets it in the end too, but she's on the fence as a death because she's whisked away to hell after failing to help her partner in Global Takeover. So not technically killed or even dead, but she is in hell. And even with this being a movie made for the Sci-Fi Channel, one can still hope for the gift of some extended scenes of unwrapped talent on the DVD, but no such luck here. And that irritates us the most when Erica offers Robert mercy sex before he's killed, just so she can have his blood in her own child. But he can't mix evil with pleasure, and we don't get so much as a nip slip. Well, you know the drill, Screen Freaks. Billy, let's nuke the ingredients of this film and see what it rates. 3 out of 5! And that comes with a lot of conflicting feelings, as a Puppet Master movie, this kinda sucks. The puppets look like shit, they're hardly in it, more work should have been spent on writing Robert.
That's impossible.
And while we like expanding the Toulon backstory, the filmmakers fuck up the timeline more than Full Moon ever did. But, on the flip side, this is a great Demonic Toys movie that we'd like to give a high rating to. Those Yuletide yahoos drove this whole movie with their plan for world domination that wasn't too shabby. They were funny, killed at least one guy, and Erica was a pleasant bonus as their merciless boss. But, as a standalone film with a silly hero, no boobs, and nearly zip gore, 3 out of 5 is our final decision. I recommend this flick to only the die-hard Puppet Master fans, Christmas horror buffs, and sci-fi viewers who can actually tolerate scenes like this.
Christmas house, got to come and play. What you'll have in your Christmas house? Wake up,
But
Christmas
what do I know?
Day.
I like Illustrated movies. Oh, don't touch me!
Get your out of here now!
This is not the way! Stop this! Son of a...
Well, that's right, you idiots! Fight till there's no one left but me! Ginger dead man, hey, cut me free, would you? Oh, shut up! I'm just using you for a human shield. So big whoop. These guys take each other out. You still have all those other mini full moon terrors on your shit list to take care of. You mean these guys? Damn! You deserve more credit than I give you. Shut your dick trap already. Man, I hate our host. You say something about toast? Asshole! Tequila worm! Si, senor! Shoot through these ropes. While we're waiting, let's move on to the next review, Screen Freaks, with Puppet Master Axis of Evil. The meat of this Charlie Band-approved sequel brings the puppets back to the front lines of World War II, continuing their fight against the Nazis wanting Toulon's magic. Right after we see recycled footage of Toulon eating a bullet to keep the Nazi spies from getting him a Puppet Master 1, a gimp carpenter named Danny is added, poking his head into the scene, quickly lifting the puppets from their hidey hole in Toulon's cold dead fingers. Turns out, Toulon made friends of the hotel's chair-building wonder and even showed him the puppets in action. Since Toulon teased Danny he'd teach him their secrets, Danny thinks he's entitled to the old terror trunk and lugs it back to his family home in Chinatown. While bitching like a skipping record about how his polio keeps him from fighting in the war with his brother, Danny's wish for bloodshed comes true when the war comes to him. He coincidentally runs across the same Nazi spy he saw kill Toulon and finds out he's teamed up with Japan's undercover drama club in an all-new mission to blow up the bomb factory Danny's gal works at. With no one, and I mean no one, giving a shit for what Danny has to say about all this spy activity, he needs a puppet's help for pulling a one-man Hardy Boys investigation to prove once and for all to everyone that Kraut factory workers and kabuki people are gonna blow them all up. The Axis get wise to his crackerjack sleuthing, however, costing Danny more than he bargained for, and sets him on the warpath to avenge his family, save America, and finally tell his dismissive broad, "I told you so!" Shooting the shit with the sours first, I think this film's greatest weakness is its villains, who have about as much personality as rice cakes. We've got this smooth operating Nazi who hates small talk about baseball, and this kabuki babe whose idea of hiding in plain sight and staying in makeup at all times. Sure, her hideout is a Chinatown opera house, but you'd think its lack of performances would raise some eyebrows. But anyway, these two are pretty bland by themselves, but when their white bread performances combine, the screen goes dark. Because we're nodding off. Seriously, move your arms, pace the room, throw a damn chair. Just drives me crazy how these two barely move and deliver nearly every line with the same amount of enthusiasm at such a slow pace. The stoic chemistry could have easily been fixed if the German was simply a bit more animated with his reactions, but not as much as Danny's girlfriend's boss when he's late for their lunch date.
You're late for your lunch date because you're playing around with puppets. We got strict lunch hours here, Coogan. But what happens if my invoices don't get filed and one of my secretaries keels over from starvation? I don't like you, Coogan. You got 10 more minutes, Beth.
Whoa, whoa! With this guy not being her dad or Danny's boss, this is a little over the top, don't you think? And would you believe we got problems with the timeline again? Toulon escaping Europe in 1941 from Puppet Master 3 always conflicted with the first Puppet Master, saying he dies in 1939. Since footage from Part 1 is being used again here, we're back to 1939, which might suggest the filmmakers are trying to rectify things. But the movie heavily suggests Danny went home right after Toulon's death, and Danny's brother Don brags to him how excited he is to be shipped out to fight the war. Well, that's a problem, because Don shouldn't be fighting anyone since America doesn't join the fight till 1941, and we're still in 1939. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert in my own history, much less this kind of stuff, but we need to decide as fans that Toulon's death happened in 1941, because it just makes the most sense for all the movies now. Checking out the pissing timer, I could clock a few minutes if I was an asshole about watching footage we've already seen from the original film and the dull-tastic duo, but both are necessary to the plot and aren't exactly boring. But I do think they could have cut down on the flashback footage of Blade running back to Toulon's hotel room, however. Love seeing the stop-motion magic again, but come on, let's get to the new stuff already. Happy to dig into the sweets of this film, the filmmakers deserve some high praise for how well this period piece looks. Everything from the costumes to the lighting and sets looks spectacular, and as if it were a question, you know we gotta talk about the puppets. Among the usual roster, there's Blade, Tunneler, Pinhead, Jester, Leech Woman, pieces of six-shooter that need repair, and we see these guys for the first time since the original. Since Toulon had already introduced Danny to the puppets, they don't seem to have any problem moving from the expansive hotel to a boy's bedroom, especially not when Danny's fixing them up, feeding them their elixir, and figuring out how to inject people's souls into other puppets Toulon left behind. That's right, without any scene of Danny finding Toulon's diary or even his acknowledgement that these used to be people, he somehow figures out how to use the elixir for transferring his dead brother's essence into a ninja puppet found in Toulon's trunk. Pretty ironic for a guy that was just bragging about how many Japs he was looking forward to killing in the war.
Sneak up on those Japs in the jungle. Slit their yellow throats.
And I get it, Don's sneaky and a ninja sneaky, but was he always so good with throwing stars, or did that skill just come naturally with wearing the costume? Hard to be so stealthy when you got two big glowing red eyes, ain't it? Oh, and I should have mentioned this in the Sours, but I can't get over how Pinhead looks like he's hiding a giraffe deformity in that turtleneck. Not as weird, though, as these shots where he looks like the run of the litter. Eager for the kill count, the Legends of Horror stack up a total of 7 to 8 bodies. The puppets, minus Jester of course, get some good licks in before Ninja Don steals the spotlight, saving them all with a show-stopping depth thrust of the Reich's rear. Aching assholes, that's gotta hurt. But then Ninja Don dies, or whatever you want to call it, after being stabbed, making it twice Don's been taken out of the picture. Is this how it works now? Can the puppets die from this kind of stuff, or are they just broken and need repairs? Cutting to the chase, there ain't no boobs to be found in this era of pinup girls and rosy riveters, so feast your eyes on this beauty instead. Billy, let's look at the ingredients of this flick and see what it rates. We're out of 5. This ain't nowhere near a bad movie, but could have used more engaging villains, a bit more puppet action, and clearer development of Danny's understanding of what the elixir does. I recommend this to sushi lovers, people still crazy about ninjas, and those needing training videos for how to greet the ladies.
Excuse me, madam. Nice to meet you.
But what do I know? I like killers made of movies. Thanks, partner. Playtime is over! Why'd you do that? Take out the pack leader and the rest will fall in line. Saw in the movie once. Alright, puppet babies, time for you to get in the box.
Did this happen in the movie too?
Fucking Hollywood. I should have thought this one through more. Give me a second to pick these toys up while you screen freaks enjoy a review of Puppet Master Axis Rising. The meat of this World War II puppet flick is Danny and Beth continuing their fight against the Axis spy ring in the home front, this time with the support of the US government who recognizes them as heroes for everything the puppets did saving the day the last movie. Well, I guess Danny helped a little. He did open the bag that carried the puppets after all. It's not quite the same as hawking up deadly leeches and Japs dinners or sticking Nazis in the ass with swords, but hey, somebody had to bring them to the party to begin with. Too bad he couldn't be as dependent as getting them back home, however, because after Kabuki Bay snatches Tunneler and Getz, she's caught in crosshairs and gives them up to an occult-crazed Nazi working on raising an army of undead soldiers, much like the experiments we saw in Puppet Master 3. Dissected in a secret lab by a scientist held against his will and a Nazi stripogram's knockers, Toulon's secrets are extracted and synthesized for creating the Nazis' own war toys. Before the war can tip in the Nazis' favor, Danny and the rest of the puppets gotta move fast if they're gonna save Tunneler and keep Toulon's secret, well, secret. Looking for the sour lumps in this film, it's a surprising flip from what we thought was lackluster with Axis of Evil. This time around, we get some enthusiastic bad guys keeping things lively, but the heroes Danny and Beth aren't really doing it for me now. If they look a little different to you, this ain't your faulty memory from heavy drinking screen freaks, but because they're entirely different actors. Whether the original actors weren't called back or refused to reprise their roles, this flick replaces every returning character with a new face. And while these people look the part and can act, they just didn't come off with the same vulnerabilities that made me care about the Axis fighting duo in the last movie. In Axis of Evil, Danny felt genuine as a frustrated gimp wanting to do his part in the war, and Beth was a sweet independent gal. Here, Danny comes off like a bit of a dimwit, and Beth reminds me of one of those overprotective women you see doing all the talking for her man in the relationship, like when they go to the doctors or a business meeting, which drives me fucking crazy. Nowhere near as interesting as this Nazi mindfuck game the Elsa wannabe plays in The Hostage Doctor, which keeps him from thinking clearly with his blood pumping other places in his brain. No wonder his experiments are failing. That is until he's brought Tunneler. This little guy can drill through a man's head, but not out of a bag. Figure that out. The Doc's dissection of Tunneler actually adds to the Puppet Master lore, showing us the puppets can be stopped by draining their life force. After the Nazi commander sees his kinky fuck buddy has it bad for wrinkles, he reminds him he's the alpha cock and leaves the Doc scrambling to bring his favorite cock tease back to life. When he sees the elixir can't revive things as big as people, he somehow figures out, like they all do, he can capture people's souls with it and ejects them into smaller things. So for better or worse, this she-wolf of the SS is forevermore Doc Geezer's plaything he calls Bombshell. Pretty smart design if you ask me, gives him the perfect excuse to regularly play with her rack when it needs reloading or repairs. I think it's hysterical that this guy's treating her better than Toulon did his own wife when he made her into Leech Woman. And the Resurrection game doesn't stop there. Introducing the newest line of Full Moon action figures, Doc builds Wehrmacht, Blitzkrieg, and Kamikaze. We know the serum doesn't just create life out of nowhere, so who the hell were these fuckers before? Did the Doc just sacrifice some Nazi soldiers for the cause, or were they willing participants? And who would volunteer to be in this fucking thing? Maybe they're more Jap prisoners rounded up for his experiments, but then why aren't they fighting back? Like, why doesn't Bombshell turn her killer into Swiss cheese first chance she gets? I guess they're all magically under the Doc's command like the puppets whenever they get a new master, but you see them turn on their master all the time, so I don't know. I spent too long bitching about this, so let's just move on. Looking at the piston timer, we clock a successful 0 seconds, which is gravy, and that goes double for the lack of bogus jump scares. Turning to the sweets, we've got a whole tray of fun samples here to enjoy, believe it or not. The best character I got to salute is Sergeant Stone, who's assigned as Danny and Beth's bodyguard. This side-talking, lemon-sucking live-action caricature is the shot of energy Danny's side of the story needs to keep it as entertaining as a bad guy spy opera. He's rough.
You two make me want to puke.
Tough, and can easily be a real-life Cotton from King of the Hill. I find it so funny how a Sarge with the whole U.S. Army at his back is somehow convinced by Danny that the puppets are his only chance for hunting Nazis hiding in America, especially after they attack an award ceremony with their new super small soldiers. But it's not like the puppets haven't proven themselves to him, and even Danny limps up to the plate to prove his mettle. Like before, we got Blade, Pinhead, Jester, Leech Woman, Tunneler, who's MIA most of the time, he needs rescuing, and the puppets drag 6-shooter's broken ass out of the trunk to give them better odds in their fight against weenie werewolves and suicidal stereotypes. You know, I can't put my bony finger on it, but the gang looks slightly rougher compared to last movie. Well, at least they fixed Pinhead's fucking giraffe neck. Oh, and before I forget, Ninja Action Don has officially kicked the bucket. Turns out being stabbed as a little wooden boy is fatal, and Danny didn't see any reason to bring him back. Speaking of kicking the bucket, Axis Rising stacks up a total of 10 bodies, and that's thanks to everyone pitching in. Except Jester. You know, you're not fighting or making me laugh, so what the fuck you do exactly? No, not the Sarge, damn it! He should have been kept around for the sequel they handed out! Why couldn't it have been Beth? Take Beth! And with this blonde dynamo goose stepping around, there's sure to be a hell titler in here. None? None at all? What the fuck? We haven't had boobs in a Puppet Master flick for 8 movies now! Before we get any madder, let's simmer our nerves with this. Billy, what's the ingredients of this flick and see what it rates? While it could use a bit more giddy up in his pace, boobs, and lovers of better chemistry, this Puppet Master offers plenty more than recent sequels with all new bad guys, fun characters, and nearly a full house of your favorite puppets. I'd recommend this flick to fans of cat fights, mad science, and players of I Spy props from other movies. But what do I know? I like Killer Tomato movies. Well, how about we just move on with our next review? Puppet Master Axis Termination. The meat of this next Axis installment is Full Moon saying adios to the last flick's characters and bringing Toulon's deadly creations into the next World War II story set in 1942, full of psychics, spies, and sabotage. After Axis spies gun down Danny and Beth like damn dirty apes, the US government snatches up the puppets and form a special super secret psychic squad to study them. Led by a powerful Russian empath named Dr. Ivan Ivanov, he brings in his clairvoyant daughter who can see the future in her dreams, and a witchy woman who's an expert in sexual magic. The final member of the team is a reluctant liaison to the army named Captain Brooks, who seems to only have 2 expressions: eating nails and disbelief. With the army well aware of the Axis puppets after their attacks last flick, they need this new gang of supernatural sleuths to put an end to the Nazis' occult research in the home front and crack Toulon's secret for making more elixir for an army of small soldiers. Which is easier said than done because the Nazis have their own super psychics controlling the newest generation of Full Moon merch, and they're on their own hunt for Toulon's trunk and his secret recipe for the elixir. Dipping into the sour end first, the only thing I gotta bitch about is a lack of character development among such an imaginative ensemble of comic book personalities. I don't feel like the characters have enough flaws or drama to them, or face enough challenges that carry any impact on a personal level. Everybody's pretty much on a one-track journey with no growth or development by the end, like Mario saving a princess or a game of capture the flag. They have what we want, we go fight for it, the end. I think the biggest missed opportunity for fixing this is Captain Brooks, who serves as our introduction to this world of mutant psychics, killer splinters, and booby magic. He's got the perfect setup as a guy who feels like he failed as a soldier overseas and can't buy into the fancy backroom boy stuff he's been reassigned to. If the filmmakers pushed his point of view to the forefront more, we could have had a more meaningful story with Ivanov helping him rediscover his value as a fighter in a different kind of war, while Brooks helps him reach his rivals for their final big brain bout, while humorously learning to accept the puppets as soldiers in arms. Now have Ivanov show a little emotion over his daughter and give his arch a humanizing motivation for being a villain, and you've got a deeper movie. While there might be a scene or two that feel like they drag a bit, there's plenty going on that keep it from being clocked as piston time, and not a bogus scare in sight. Jumping feet first into the sweets of Termination, I'm thrilled to see we have such a great balance of heroes and villains packed in this flick. We already took a head count of the super secret psychic squad, so I won't bore you with more about them, but I gotta give a mad holler to Dr. Ivanov because he's such a great character to bring into the Puppet Master mythology. While this was supposed to be Ivan's first introduction to the Full Moon fans, he was first seen in the miniseries Ravenwolf Towers. It was here I first became interested in him as this mysterious evil killing sleuth of the supernatural whose methodical line delivery keeps you hanging on his every word. Wanting to see more paranormal adventures with him, I was very happy to find out he's the head honcho stepping in as a puppet's newest master, making him my favorite master to watch since Toulon himself. I think with enough time, this actor could easily be Charlie Band's new Phil What's-His-Name. But behind every great hero are equally great villains, pushing them to fantastic extremes, and that's how happens to be two Nazis named Dr. Ernst and Sturmvan for crap kick. No, Sturmvan for. You know what? I'm just going to call him the Rippler, because it looks like he inflicts pain on others like the MIB mummies and Retro Puppet Master. Everybody good with that? Gravy. Moving on, Ernst may report to Rippler, but she's the true villain of the story, causing trouble for Ivanov and his gang. Easy on the eyes and holding her own in every scene, she uses her psychic powers to control the goose-stepping puppets that didn't blow up in the last movie, Bombshell, Werbach, and Blitzkrieg, and quietly plots her rise to power exploiting the Third Reich's resources, no matter how many guys she has to make poke their own eyes out. Of course, her plans might go a lot faster if she didn't have to waste so much time convincing the Rippler of the puppet's value as weapons. But I gotta admire the guy. He's one of the first people in a Puppet Master flick to be real and say, they're small, yeah, but what can they do that a normal soldier can't? But of course, all we're concerned with is seeing them do it, you know? Let the real superpowers dish it out in the background and let's see the puppets in action already. Woo! Well, looks like the old effects bag got some new tricks in it this time around, Screen Freaks. Mixing up, we see our favorite puppets, Blade, Pinhead, Jester, Tunneler, Six Shooter, and Leech Woman fighting the gore-tastic fight with techno-puppeteering, stop motion, and even live-action green screen sequences which we've never seen done in the Puppet Master before. That has got to be the nastiest leech barf we've seen yet. Eager to count the kills, Axis Termination stacks up a total of 21 to 22 bodies. Wow! That's got to be the highest count of any Puppet Master yet. But before you get too excited, only half of those are thanks to the puppets. The rest are soldiers shooting each other up, and nobody guinea pigs the Nazis experiment on. Which brings us to our questionable body that opens a whole other can of worms, Screen Freaks. Dr. Ernst Hinchwinch here has a pretty badass look with a cool weapon at her fingertips, but I've got no idea what it does. We're obviously led to believe it's the elixir, so I think people injected with it would turn inside out or something like folks who overdose on the reagent serum and reanimator, but we get nothing, not a zip. Hell, we're not even given the satisfaction knowing if the guy's dead or not. And this continues even when Blade upgrades to the same weapon, stabbing crowds with no special effect results. No wonder Dr. Ernst was always bitching about running out of elixir. She's practically giving away like candy. She randomly gives the super secret psychic squad a sample with a ransom note for Ivanov's daughter, and Hinchwinch is packing a 5-needle punch, but I'm sure one is enough to do the job. And holy fuck! After 8 movies, the dry spell is over, and we finally get boobs in a Puppet Master flick again. About fucking time! Billy, let's look at the ingredients of this flick and see what it rates. While this Puppet Master flick is heavier in the comic book war drama than the horror of the puppets themselves, this is the shot in the arm the series needed. We get back to basics with gore and boobs while bringing in new characters and situations that challenge the puppets and gives the series opportunities to branch in new exciting directions. I recommend Axis Termination to fans of the lighting from Creepshow, topless girl and girl action, and any goof who ever forgot they could just remove their glasses to get rid of a pesky critter. But what do I know? I like Kill Tomato movies. Tallying up the scores for all 11 Puppet Master movies, plus the Black Sheep Ginger, that's Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys, the Puppet Master series scores an overall 4 out of 5. Not too shabby. Our favorite flick overall is Part 2, our favorite puppet is Six Shooter, our favorite master is Dr. Ivanov, our favorite gal is Barbara Crampton's Carnival cameo in Part 1, our favorite kill is Torch roasting a youngin', our scariest moment is this fucking disaster from Part 6, and our favorite Puppet Master villains are the Demonic Toys.
Get in there already.
Good one, Billy. Help me, amigos.
Damn, we're in a hot spot.
He's getting closer.
Runaway Ginger.
What the hell?
I'm using you for a cookie shield.
What are you?
Thanks, partner.
You dumb sons of bitches are just crumbs in the wind and don't even know it yet.
What's the cookie talking about, Deadwest?
You think this fight you're helping set up is gonna save everyone, but you're wrong. Full Moon's got this thing fixed. Nabbing these puppets is just you lining up for your graves.
Think any of this is true? I trust this crust about as much as kissing a cross-eyed scorpion, but something tells me there might be more to this than a play for survival. We'll keep him around and see what he knows, but until then, I'll see you later, Screen Freaks! Well, howdy there, Scream Freaks. Well, thank you kindly for watching, and help yourself to more servings of Screaming Soup by visiting our site at screamingsoup.com. You can read our weekly updates, character bios, and interviews, catch up on past episodes, browse our store, and drool over the Howlin' Hottie of the Week. If you want to scream at us, just holler at screamingsoup@gmail.com, and don't forget to stalk us through social media, conveniently linked at the top of the site.
No!
There are things our puppets can do that not even an army can.
You can control them?
Of course.
Convince me.
Kill her.
Captain Brooks.
Dr. Ivanov. Doctor of what exactly?
Don't be afraid, Eliza. He's a friend.
So, my little friend, we will finish our business.
I dreamed of cities in flames.
You dare challenge me, a dwarf!
I have never tried to control him.